We are absolutely. Y'all can't see, but my eyes are closed. You gotta have a moment where your eyes is closed and you just cognac music, man. You swirl it and you listen to it. I don't even want the shoulder. I just want all wrist and square.
That's you need like the you need to look up swirling.
Watch tears fall. Not like tears.
I was like, tears.
No. Tears in your drink. That's how you can tell the quality. No. Hi, everybody that has joined in already, as people come into the foyer and join please. Everybody back. Everything looks a little bit different, right? Like you've been doing stuff and touching things, and different. I look extra chocolate sweet. Can't see he back in there producing, mixing, mastering, and all that stuff. So he's typing for himself. That ain't had nothing to do with
you
us.
see him back there. He got like his like that little Dr. Dre glow. Like when you watch like the behind the scenes,
he got that Cheshire Cat grin. That's all you see right now is his teeth.
And then you have like the dude talking in the background, like this was the moment when they knew they was in these. That's how she put back there.
You got to play the most interesting man in the world theme.
Yes.
His producer.
This is like
the producer
because it's like the documentary look where like you see him like he was a hard work man. He was the good news started in the basement.
Thank you, Keith.
I appreciate y'all, man.
See, there you go.
Kind.
Get your flowers, man. I know every show ain't gonna give you all your. We gonna give you a little bit. So all the new visuals that we have, all the new content that's gonna come your way, and it's gonna be just masterful. Y'all can end the year off, start off with such wonderful visuals.
Smoke our podcast.
Already? Oh, I'm about to say you don't want to wait till New Year before we start swinging on folks. I'll let you deal with that. I don't feel like swinging on people yet. Body slams?
Yeah.
Body to body? Big meaty men slap meat.
Meat to meat. That's y'all shit.
Hey, calm down. Calm down. Well, yeah. All right, fine. Get it off. Yes, we just had our founders, Roots and Bros. So cool. Yes. Meat to meat and all the dog jokes and all the other stuff that y'all want to throw out there.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all because y'all let me get a lot of wild shit off.
We do. we do.
I abuse every friendship I have.
Yes.
Across state lines. So I got a lot of messages. It was like you posted it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Keith, you got some jokes you want to get off too? While we just gonna get out the way?
I got nothing for y'all, man.
I appreciate that.
I got nothing. All respect.
Thank you.
All respect. I do got some doggy treats for you after the show.
Okay.
However, that's the only one I got for you.
Okay. As long as it's milk bone, we all right, man. Don't give me no off brand. All vegan dog treats. Vegan dog treats. That's what I want.
Absolutely not.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I already showed you my experience.
I feel like we've had a couple conversations about mad communities. Have we jumped on vegans?
I have.
Oh.
I personally, I
don't think I've jumped. I just disregard that. I don't know, man. Find something. I just feel like I just want to be equal opportunist. So I know somebody. I think I have got everybody in every group at least once. So salute to y'all and the food that y'all make. That I'm not gonna eat. Against the vegans.
You put us against the Israelites last time.
Hey man, I think y'all can take them, bro. Y'all, the gold and purple war.
I don't know. You saw how they showed up for Kyrie.
Yeah, y'all gotta organize. I think I do. I'm not gonna say that they're not tough. I think that y'all definitely have to go to the drawing board. Y'all gotta watch a lot of film.
It might be a little.
Yeah, because they be locking down exits and shit. They know what they're doing. One band. They real.
One band, one sound.
They
Yeah.
are very one band,
They
one
are
sound.
very one band, one down. And we are one band, one soundish. Kind of.
You got Shaq. You got Shaq.
Out of everybody, that's who you pulled right now. Granted, Shaq is a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
I can't mention Kyrie and you pull out Shaq.
I don't know, man. I just feel like you can't beat a size 47 boot.
That's like talking relationships when you bring out Steve Harvey. Exactly. It's not. No, don't do that. Keith, you know this song is like 15 hours straight, right?
It is.
I figured you'd never get tired of it.
I know it was my favorite song before I crossed. Oddly enough, before I even knew I wanted to play it, it was one of my favorite songs, and I didn't realize until I started hopping to it how long this goddamn song is.
Are you? Is George Clinton now acute? Is he honorary?
Ooh.
George
Yeah,
Clinton,
he's honorary.
That's right. I think I remember because of the song, right?
Well, I don't make the decisions as to why anybody gets in. I haven't had anything to do with any lines. Hey.
Well, congratulations to him.
Yes. He cut his hair and all,
Y'all still make sure he gets the check.
I mean,
y'all alone probably pay his rent.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I've been to live shows and he long before he would give us time to like set it out on stage. But he's always showed us love even before. So I mean, it's only right that we make it. So shout out to the I can't call him Negroes because I mean technically he's Neo, so to speak. Like I'm his old head. But yes.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Relax. Just all I want to do is live my life.
Nobody, don't look at, don't do this. Don't do it like that, Ray.
You know, and you always be pulling out just the evil like on air. It's like 7. It's gonna be. I'm at this point. I think I could probably put a good compilation together of like DC shoves into light.
Hey, look, you got two choices. you got two choices now. You can mount up in front of whatever that little Brooklyn Stadium is with the other boys.
I'm not doing that. I'm riding with y'all.
Okay, well then come on. I
feel like
I appreciate such an easy decision.
Yeah.
So what about it?
I just said I saw it. I was trying to be silent. Yeah. What's considered true?
Because you said you finally saw it. What's the truth? Okay.
I had to get because
I know.
I had to get it off.
But tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Because I feel like the first viewing is not fair.
It's not.
I feel like first viewing, I was just sitting there, had to like sleep on it, and then my sister's here, so it was like, oh, okay, cool. Run that back.
Okay. Go ahead, share your thoughts. I know you've been itching for the last few weeks
because
to
I'm not
get
even
your nerve.
itching. At this point now, I'm not even mad at like or have any gripes with necessarily the film just yet.
Okay.
I got gripes with like kind of us. Like it's mad niggas who was online like, this is the castration of men. And I was like, I don't feel like that's the conversation we need to have, my boy. Like,
I don't know if I saw that conversation.
It was I'm really like was dumb in that department.
Okay.
I like saw a couple good reviews from people who were giving like real well-rounded conversations. And the internet is a rabbit hole because I guess the algorithm said he's a man. He would vibe with these guys, and I do not. Like niggas start out as soon as you start out, it's like this is a back on, and I was like, bro, that's not the conversation we're supposed to have.
Because Shuri's Black Panther.
Yeah, it was a lot of just
the other main person's a guy, dude.
It was dudes having like mad misogyny conversations. Then like it would be like women having like the reactionary conversations. So I was like, we're not even talking about this film like as a film, or if you have, I feel like there are obviously it's not a critiqueless film, but I just feel like people like stuck too much in it, and it just changes the vibe of how the conversation goes. Because
okay,
in a serious level, like obviously huge film, it did whatever it did for us. Like last year, like we were taking pictures. I heard this on like the Joe Budden pod, and it was true. I'm one of them. I have that shit in my phone. Like we were taking pictures in front of the thing.
Yeah.
It was whole families. I had my whole entire family on this.
Yeah.
My grandma was in that fucking thing. The guy was like, "This is important," and obviously the character is important for a variety of reasons. Like you might love Luke Cage, like white. Like you might love Blue Marvel, but he starts out he had to like Little White Woman, and then he got his act together. But he took time off and shit. Like was like I'm in my feelings. Slavery happened, so fucking Black Panther's dope for 50 different reasons. He's a king. He's a this. He's a that. So watching it, I know I had to get over like I actually bought in like watching it over. It's like okay, the first time you might be like I was here for the recast for what I felt like the character meant. But once you watch, you're like, okay, I'm buying into the fact that he's gone, he's dead, cool. Let's get into the film from where it's at. One thing I was bugged out about, like, I'm like fast forwarding is who runs the border tribe? Because they didn't protect not a border, not a door. Them niggas just walked all up in there with swimmers. Y'all, here's the thing. Y'all fought Thanos on y'all front yard, and that nigga never made it past the mailbox. It was aliens with teeth, big wheels with fucking blades, crazy people. And I'm like, what these swimming niggas just in the front door?
Well, to shoot them a little bell, they had some assistants. They had other superheroes and superpowered individuals to assist them. So it wasn't just Wakandian forces, and it wasn't just the border tribe.
Anyway.
That's just to give them a little bell.
But yeah, I guess like I've had a couple conversations about this, and like my gripe with it is that I feel like I never get enough like Wakanda in the film.
Okay.
Like you get like, you get the throne room, you get the little little marketplace. But this might be a little bit of an unfair critique, but here we are. As like a reader, like this is like a nation. If you look at Africa, it's like how huge it is. You can fit America in it. Like look at your maps. It's a lie. So I'm like, this country should be like, double, triple the size. They be making all of Wakanda seem like it's the size of downtown LA. And I don't be liking that shit. So in my mind, when I'm sitting here, I'm like, like y'all could be able to not necessarily smoke these niggas, because I'm not trying to like, make the other side just get like dog walked.
Right.
Because, obviously that was a theme in the film that like, we're beefing, but we need to come together.
Right.
Which is true. I feel like they could have leaned into that more too. Like it was a bit of they're out here being messed up. Nah, man, how about we beef a little bit in the front? And then the rest of the film is us making sure you niggas never ever. Because the way they started it, man. I said this a lot, but like Angela Bassett, bro, is like
protect her as at all costs.
Fam, like everybody acted their ass off in this film, but like, man,
Riri's a red too.
Now that's one of my critiques. I didn't need her in this film.
We didn't, but we also didn't need Auntie to die either.
That's another. Okay. Let me. I gotta pick one of these, and I'm gonna try to bring it back to some mental healthy shit in a minute.
It's okay. I have a couple of ways that this can be mental health.
Riri, I felt was unnecessary because I feel like the character itself needs more development, and I liked her getting her show. I like that she's like a super genius. I think that whole character's fire. Like I like Tony Stark and shit, but like they said, it's a young black girl who just made this shit in her backyard. Yeah, sign me up. Her being in there, I feel like took away from like the time we're in the city and in Boston. That's time when I feel like, because when like as a reader, all the council of people, like all the tribes of Wakanda, like are big different groups that they come together, obviously for the sake of like the Black Panther, or whatever. But they all treat vibranium different. There's even a group who takes less of a technological approach. They're like super spiritual with it. So I felt like that was time to like you could have gave me that. Develop these characters and blah, 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 blah. And that's one thing that I was like bugged out about. I was like, yeah, I don't like this shit. Like, I want to see an army. I want to see, they talk about the War Dogs, but like it's only Nakia by herself. I'm like, bring them back. Kick mad ass. What I didn't like, I guess we should have started this with fucking man. Spoiler alert! Like fucking by 30
I'm sure
minutes in.
anybody with melanated skin has seen it by now if they wanted to.
Here's what I didn't like about the mom dying, because it ruined the whole thing of like, for me, it ruined them supposed to be like coming together as like, the Talokans and like, the Wakandans and blah blah. You kill my mom, I'd have turned that motherfucker into Papados. It would have been like I would have went down there. I would have turned. It would have been I'd have grilled them motherfuckers up. It'd have been it. Like I'm like there is no. Also like the fact that you can stab them with a spear and they get up, but the kid went down there, popped her with a gun, and nobody. I'd have said everybody get up, everybody get strapped, put that spear down, pop these motherfuckers. But that part I didn't like. Also, I didn't really feel like. I get tired of seeing like excessive death of niggas on screen. Now that part I'm not a fan of. That was one thing about like, and that's one thing where I felt where we failed maybe each other, because I felt like black men maybe failed themselves and how they expressed their rage and anger about this fictional character, and then I felt like our counterparts failed us because it got blown over in this like misogynistic thing. And if you listen to some dude talk, and if I'm just using my own synopsis of it, all I see is us die regularly, and I'm like, this character is fake. So that was a lot of the issue about, damn nigga, like I gotta die in my dreams, motherfucker. Like, and that's when it's important. Like that's when everybody marches. Like that to me, parallel to real life, was uneasy, because I'm like, shit, that's what happens in real life, bro. Niggas be not shit, and then you die, and then it's like a big march. A lot of motherfuckers put you on a t-shirt, and it's like, but I got past that or whatever. But her dying again. Not again, but her dying in the film, I was like, I ain't really need that shit. Like, god damn.
I mean, I can understand the fact of how much cleaning up they have to do. Now, in a realistic standpoint, what I'm not really tripping off of as far as how they tried to clean up and how adding in parts that we don't need, doing things that are pretty much unnecessary, and how you're going to progress it forward and all this other stuff. I think I like the fact that this is something positive in our community that makes us be a little bit more connected to our culture.
I fuck with that.
Like the movie itself, for me, there's 2 movies in a row.
Oh no, I expected to cry as much as I did.
Oh, I didn't cry.
Well, I thought about crying.
Yeah,
but I got choked up. I didn't feel like cry, but like I expected people to cry. I expected to feel how I felt. Oh, I didn't expect to feel like I felt as long as I did. I was like, damn, y'all niggas.
No, it tugged at the heartstrings for sure, but I didn't have that's just me.
Moments where he was on there, like,
in the beginning, and then it tugs at the heartstrings. They did a good job of honoring, but also doing that. Don't worry, we'll take care of that, Ty. It's okay. We gonna help you out. But for me, two movies in a row. This has been an opportunity for me to connect. Like you said, first movie got together, everybody's taking pictures, families coming together. I have had modeling opportunities for both movies, but it's also geared towards Black connectivity and honoring and things of that nature. So I like the fact that regardless of putting Comic Geek aside, putting how accurate is this and what you done, aside from all the critiques, what this movie represents for us and how it brings us together to honor an aspect of us and our culture and our community that we don't often talk about connecting to sometimes, or we may split the difference. Some of us is like, we like crystals, and some of us like Black stuff, and some of us is vegans, and some of us is trying to be like Sukihana and Moneybagg Yo. Like, so many of us are divided in how we choose to identify ourselves individually, but something like this can bring us all together to celebrate Blackness. That's what I appreciate, regardless of all the other aspects of the movie. I can say I appreciate Namor being changed into more of an Aztec character, which I see that now for also the Latino culture. I'm seeing a lot of them posting more historical.
Dog was fire.
Yeah, no, the character's dope. He got to have his moments where he was whooping some slave ass, which I appreciate. As a kid, he wouldn't tear that shit up. Oh, I don't like y'all slave owners. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm gonna wipe all this shit off the face of the earth.
What was it like? Because I know he aged it. He was like a 38-year-old kid just fucking beating ass.
Well, either way, I appreciate appreciate him being able to do that. But from a realistic standpoint, being able to see how their community is gathering behind this contextual character for their culture, for like Aztec culture, and something that they can take pride in. And that also helps bring us together with them as well, because we both get to celebrate. It's not really a villain in the movie because people understand he's more of an anti.
It's a villain in the movie.
White folk.
There it is. Now, see, that's what.
But that's the common denominator that we understand. Like we can fight amongst each other all we want to, but you have to understand that. Look, whether you are Talokan or you are from Wakanda, at the end of the day, your enemy is still white people.
That damn lion and beast giving realness. So I know T'Challa better be talking to little T'Challa in the next movie. You know, I mean, it's possible. Obviously, the way technology is working, they can do that. The way they did the thing with Paul Walker, the way they're making everybody young in the Star Wars movies. But I guess that depends on like
Tupac has been making appearances in concerts and cameos for like 10 years now. We can definitely do something where we superimpose Chadwick in there to have him make some sort of appearance.
I think they could. Now, my thing is if they will, because and that's one thing that I took away from it. Like, as I was watching, it took me a while to get to this part, but like thinking about, okay, if I'm in this crew, if I'm part of this epic event of what this movie is, not to mention, if you're going to do a movie, unless you guys are just in a certain level of just, this is my job, you're going to develop connections. And the way all these people treat each other like family, selfishly, I might have said, like, y'all can't recast it. Like, I might have leaned that way. So that's the only thing that makes me think like that thing might not happen, because if they literally lay him to rest, then they lay him to rest. But that's one thing that that was my minor critique, even though I know it was part of her grief, which I thought that was cool. People had like critiques about Shuri, but I liked watching her have issues with how she processes grief, because I felt like that was kind of real.
Yes.
But
yes.
Only thing I didn't dig was it was like, well, I dug and didn't, is her kind of aversion to the ancestral thing, because that was one of the big pieces for me. Like watching this film, I was like you said, I'm like, oh, this is a way. It is a way to connect, because you might leave the theater and go, they really got down like that. Man, that's a comic book movie. No, look it up. Like, this is how our communities like.
But I think that kind of fits even more realistically into the grief aspect, right? Because when grief has multiple stages, so you going through your stages of anger when you grieving. I don't want to embrace anything like. This is the reason why my brother is gone. I'm already going through my shame and blame stage in my grief, because I blame myself for not being able to find a cure for him. But now I'm also angry because him being in this situation is why he's not here anymore. So no, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through taking the mantle the way that it's supposed to, because that's why he ain't here in the first place. I want to be able to do this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. But I can understand her rejecting the cultural aspects of things, because the cultural aspects of things couldn't save him in the first place. So why do I want to embrace the thing that helped create this grief and pain that I'm going through?
Yeah, see, that part like made sense to me character wise, as what I try to what I attached to all this shit. I was like, damn, I was like, stick with that. But I like that. I feel like for both sides, like it's very heavy on. There's other things that connect us to our cultures,
right?
I know he said this in like a couple interviews, that I think was like part of Coogler's point, was like, I want parallels between these nations, because in real life, nigga, like we beef a lot. Like, really shouldn't. Like, you got fucked up too. Same. Crazy how that happened. Crazy how we both kind of experiencing
the same thing.
Wild racism, nuts how that works.
I mean, even if that's kind of been my issue with how Black Panther has been portrayed in both movies. It's like, why are you defending the oppressor, dog? Like, why are you trying to protect them so bad?
That is a geek critique, because there's two, and I know and that gets into my little critique of films anyways, because I feel like sometimes it's not a critique. I feel like that's pretty valid. Like, media and all these other things are things that shape how you think. They're, people say brainwashing, that's a bit too much, but that does shape your mindset and how you view things.
Absolutely.
And they always make these heroes like, all of our heroes are very forgiving. And I feel like if you are the people that fucked over a lot of people, you make sure that the black characters like very like, oh my God, he did some terrible stuff. But because of the power of righteousness and God, when it's like, nah, nigga, you could have lopped bro's head off. Like that's a valid, response to this level of extreme evil and trauma. And it's not it's always framed as like, revenge will consume you. It's like, yeah, it could, but also there's a difference between like I'm protecting my people, I'm protecting my whatever. Now I know that worked out pretty good for like the whole her and Namor thing, but in general, it's like no. When bro said we got valid, they've been like doing a lot of stuff for us. I've been alive for like 800 years, so I watch a lot. They've been doing a lot of fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
So like, if you guys wanted to like mount an insurrection on the planet, like we kind of could do that.
I got your back. All you gotta
we
do.
kind of could like, hey, y'all just came through and like fucking tried to steal. Like y'all were at the embassy. We watched on TV, and they came and so you can kick their ass. You can kick their ass for sure.
Hi, Lourdes.
Because we don't see brown people on screen even in Mexican cinema.
That's one thing that going back to the cultural aspect and how it's creating pride in different communities. One thing that I can support as far as Namor not being true to the comic book.
I was so happy about that change because that shit went up on the internet. They were like, he's not. And I'm like, okay, bro, we have to start admitting that like some of these characters, many of these characters are white simply because in 1950, whatever, when they was created, white people would have lost their shit to not see themselves in media.
Because Stan the Man created Black Panther a while ago, and he was kicking the Klan's ass. And all of these characters are an aspect of Stan, and Stan wasn't riding for none of that. So,
but Stan had to get in there, like the original DC being, I think it was like DC being the original ones, and Marvel coming up after him. Like Stan had to really fight for those.
He did,
but I feel like that's why characters like I don't know, like a Black Panther or like a Luke Cage, even though these are all black characters, that's why you can't change their race because all of their story is ingrained in their culture. Oh, who doing?
I would say that they did change their race. Now I appreciate them changing Namor, making him more Aztec, because in the comic book he's an Atlantean, correct?
Oh yeah, he's a white man.
Is he?
That's my thing. Is like
historically, where's Atlantis supposed to be located? In the Caribbean islands, in the Caribbean area, that's where Atlantis is located. So technically, Namor is supposed to be a black man. But in the comic books, they made him a white guy. So I'm okay with them giving him brown color in the movies because that's what he was originally supposed to be in the first place.
Oh, that's my point. That's what I was saying. Like black characters and characters of color, I feel like a lot of their stories are ingrained in their culture, so you can't change them. A lot of these other characters that everybody traditionally loves, they white just by default because people just was like white folks.
But
it's
people
like
that are rewriting their story.
Like if they turned around and made, even though they made him an alien now, if you made Thor a black dude, I'd be like, you don't need to do that. He's a Norse god. You can make him a white dude. The rest of these 4, 5, 6 motherfuckers is just dudes that y'all made white because who cares? Nah, fuck that. Change y'all. Y'all don't even like him for. I haven't to this day. The way that people went up online, I don't know a Namor fan for real. I know some Cap fans. I know some Iron Man fans. I know a lot of Batman fans. I'm like, you was not fucking with dog like that. This is dumb. No. But I do like shit like that because that's where I'd be like, oh, yeah, no racism. No racism. No racism.
I got another point. Well, not a point, but something that I'd be happy to see. So you brought up like Shuri going through her grief and her kind of rejecting certain things and not wanting to do things the traditional way, right? So that means when she goes to the ancestral plane, who does she see?
That was one of my favorite parts.
That's what I enjoy.
That nigga said, let's get the smoke.
Granted, I'm still mad because he got the part and I didn't. But it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. No, I'm still salty about that. I was in shape and everything, and they're gonna give it. It's okay.
Hey, they're gonna recast Luke Cage because I'm bald and I'm younger.
I mean, you could.
I'm not, no diss to, I forgot his name. Mike Coulter. No diss to him, but I'm just saying, I got Tim's in the car right now. But whatever. Marvel holla at me.
But I would like to see, since Namor and Killmonger's views align with each other as far as getting white folks the fuck up out of here and creating a space where brown people can live free of their bullshit. Killmonger is supposed to get brought back to life like 50,000 times anyway at some point. So I would like to see him coming back to life and him and Namor teaming up to create their own little situation. Now, granted, that's not how it happens in the comics, but I would like to see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, given respect that the MCU is its own continuity and can take its own stories, I just feel like I know we were saying this off air before we came on here that like because of the thing they did with what was the shit they did in Doctor Strange, or they started talking about incursions, and incursions is just a big way for universes to smash into each other and erase themselves. And in comics, they do that as a retcon. That's what's that? Whatever continuity. It's a way to rewrite whatever's going on.
In case
in case you write yourself into a hole, just blow all this up and start over. So if they do that, they'll do whatever the fuck you got a what if.
Yeah.
Tell him to what if that shit. Because he's alive in the what if universe. He's alive.
He is in control.
Yeah, he's alive as shit in what if, actually.
And he takes all of that and just takes over all of the US and says, to hell with all of y'all. So I would like to see that, just for content purposes, a little team up between Killmonger and Namor, especially because he gonna have to get M'Baku. He gonna have to get the mantle from him at some point, or whatever the case is.
And that's another thing.
And he might actually be down for it, depending on the situation.
No, because I mean, like, again, comic-y shit. There's a pantheon in the Wakandan culture. Like the Panther God is the one that's like everybody fucking with, but that's how M'Baku originally becomes one of Black Panther's enemies, because he goes and gets his shit from the ape god or whatever. Alpha. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, because I said the same thing.
And M'Baku was out there like, "Who you with?" And then him and T'Challa was fighting. Ice. And he's in the mountains where it's cold.
Right.
Wow. How have we never done this? Damn, nigga. M'Baku was an angry alpha. That's nuts. That's crazy. Anyways. Go fight everybody, yo.
You already set us up to fight everybody.
They could be in line. Anyways.
And he's gonna be us and the Israelites team up to just whoop everybody.
Marvel team up, man.
As you should.
But no, I think shit like that gets into like why I think movies like this are important, because of how we said like movies kind of and like media kind of shapes you. That's why I'm not into shit like like Till or whatever. Like I don't like
go see Will Smith's movie.
I'm not okay. Like I'm not. I love Willard. I love that Willard's back on social media.
No, you keep talking. I'm just pantomiming talking shit because Keith is in there doing stuff.
But yeah, I'm not watching no more slave movies, bro. Like I don't like, unless somebody tells me that in this slave movie, like Will makes Django look like Minnie Mouse on the beach. I don't want to watch it. Like I have no interest in it. Like it does nothing for me.
We don't have any movies for like any of the successful slave revolts that we had in Brazil or in Haiti or Cuba or any areas like that. Like we don't have any movies for those things yet. I would like to see those slave movies.
But that's because everybody act like that shit don't exist. Like it's like, because sometimes we all read. That's what if you want to do your whole brainwashing thing, you read your history books, and all your history books tell you about your history started slavery. We got our ass kicked for a couple hundred years, and civil rights happened. We walked around a little bit and still got our ass we got our asses kicked with. Yeah, it was like slavery happens.
We walked around.
Yeah, it's like slavery happens, you get your ass beat barefoot. Then civil rights happen, you get your ass beat in hard bottom shoes. And and then all of a sudden, like, everything's going well. That's how our history is presented in the books, and you make movies about that. And there's a vast variety of like different stories. Some people burnt boats, some people got off, some people went this way. These people kicked ass. This whole community wasn't having it. Like, yeah, if y'all gonna tell stories, tell those stories. And
some people were buried at sea with their ancestors.
Some people were. Some people probably shouldn't say that as a weird ending line when they're dying. One of the best movies ever, but whatever. I leave that where it's at. And I don't know. I think that's like an issue. And I don't know. I'm not in Hollywood, so maybe there's a bunch of black creators that are bringing these amazing scripts, and there's a bunch of weird white dudes saying, "Hell no." But if y'all are just writing the same old, we need to tell this story where, like, I had a conversation with my mom this week. Willard gets me every time, and no more black channel porn. Exactly. I had a conversation with my mom because my mom, they're all from the generation where it's black, we need to support. And mom's cool though. She listens to Reason sometimes, but she was talking. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to see Till. She was like, why not? And she was like, it's her story. I was like, who, the mom story? And she's like, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, we know her story. Her son died, and then the white lady who killed her son lived her life. She's living her life right now. Those who ever actually did that act, they're living life. They're living life right now. I live in a world. We live in a society where I watched Abraham Lincoln fight fucking vampires. Give me the Emmett Till story where they say, gotcha, bitch, and like they just start blowing niggas away. Do you understand? I would watch that movie 47 times in a row. I would watch that shit for 3 weeks straight. There's movies where for Abe fighting vampires. I'm talking about Black Panther, where we believe that a white man slept in snow for 40 years, came out and wasn't a racist, and he's the most upright, upstanding citizen in a spangly outfit. Man, fuck y'all.
The pillar representation of America, but he's not racist.
Captain America is an Aryan. Now,
oh, for sure.
Blonde hair, blue. It's weird. So I'm saying, like, if we're gonna make these films, like, man, make them. Somebody tell me something.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't want nobody.
Hydra, baby.
Look, man, I don't play no. I don't. Word to all the good shows out, but I don't sell drugs. Like, I watch BMF. I'm not watching no more. Don't give me no more shit. I watch BMF and I watch Snowfall. I don't sell drugs, so that doesn't apply to me no more. Like, I was at the Pank for the first season. I'm not at the Pank no more. Like,
I mean, I don't sell it, but I can refer you to somebody who can write you a prescription. So I guess that's kind of close. I'm the plug.
Give me a pharmacist show. Like, yeah, I want to see the black pharmacist show and like what that's like. I don't know. I don't know what life they live in.
Black dentistry. We got black ink, and we don't have black anything else in prosperous fields.
I don't want to watch a reality show. I mean, give me like a show.
No, I mean like an actual realistic adaptation of something that puts us in a positive light. Like I said, we got black ink, we got black this and black that for all the other stuff that's nonsensical, but we don't have any actual. Why we got Grey's Anatomy, but we don't have like an actual representation of blacks in the medical field? Why don't we have that?
Yeah, because my thing is like if we talk, we have all these great dynamic things that we talk about, and everybody got a 3-page post. Black this, black excellence. All right, man. Well, make the show, make the story. I'm gonna watch it. He gonna watch it. Them and there, they gonna watch it. Like, what? Make the show, make the movie. What's that? I'm hanging on. You know who's making cool shit? People who make kid shows. I be hanging on by my actual nails watching them fucking. My dad is a bounty hunter. I'm gonna watch that shit first day.
As you should.
They gonna get 400 views off me alone because I want y'all to make something better, anything better.
Positive representation of black fatherhood.
Yeah, or if you're gonna make shit, even if you're gonna make a villain, make it compelling. Killmonger's our only compelling villain. Everybody else should be like,
he's not a real villain. Exactly. Even Namor's not a real villain. He's just pissed.
Which is fine.
He should be pissed. Like I said, he's been alive longer than anybody else and viewed all aspects of hatred. So yeah, I'd be a little upset too. But I do want to see more representation for us to have something positive to be seen, to be shown. And I do understand the frustration like you're expressing because it's in short supply. Like, when do we get to see us actually being represented outside of the usual trauma porn that we have, as far as us being killed, us being represented in stereotypical ways, us being put into a box? There's so much more to us. We represent in film and media and all these other things, the 10 to 15% that represents our whole community stereotypically in a negative way. That's what we get bombarded with. That's why I also enjoy, even though it may be inaccurate, a movie like this, because it's part of that small percentage showing how like everybody in Wakanda happy. Is everybody living like in the palace? No. Everybody has their job. Everybody has their role. You see people out in the courtyard by the river. They was dancing and eating fruit and all this type of stuff. They happy. They healthy. They swagged out. They're colorful. They're vibrant until they get hit with water balloons, and then everybody started losing their shit because apparently even in mythical land, niggas can't swim. So that's a whole nother thing that we have to address. The only person that can swim is Nakia, apparently, in
That
all
shit,
of Wakanda. But
yeah, that was just nuts. I just want them to have more military prowess. Like that little tidbit bothered the hell out of me. Like they could fight as hell, but I was like, y'all got a nation with an army, most technologically sound shit in the universe. Like it's not the world. Like them niggas get busy with aliens and win. So
you saying that the Israelites would have done a better job than the border tribe?
you know what? If you'd have gave them some vibranium stuff, they might maybe so. All them border tribe niggas do the little water thing, and then people just show up in the water. Like y'all are on the water. What are we doing?
Getting washed.
That's all I'm saying. Like, what are we doing? I just feel like that could have been like. I'm not saying they shouldn't have got into it, but I just feel like they could have written that better because it's like because that's one thing like where I was going back and forth with not back and forth. I was reading back and forth. I don't go back and forth with none of y'all. Don't ever message me about shit. I'm not talking to you. But I was reading people go back and forth online. In my head, I'm going back and forth. In my head, I'm sunning these niggas, but like I'm not gonna talk to you in real life because after I cut my phone off, I don't want to deal with this. But people were getting mad about like they're so much stronger. I was like the Atlanteans are they make reference to that. They're a physically superior like race because they live in the water, like bone density. Wakandans are humans. They're just smart as fuck. But if it's like, oh, look at him with like actual, that's what made sense. That was the balance. Like they're strong as shit, technologically fucking nonsense, which is also kind of ridiculous because you've been sitting in this water 900 years, but whatever, whatever. Um, them on the other hand, we're not as strong as y'all, but you know we do have like vibranium armor, bro, which honestly like is a thing. Like it's a whole like Black Panther's dope, but he's ridiculous because he's physically superior and then has the suit. The rest of them niggas be having suits and be womping ass, not whooping, womping with an M, womping ass. So that was my little like still a little movie critique. But as you said, like I feel like that movie does leaps and bounds more than the stuff that we watch. And you know, everybody always be saying this shit. We all are aware of the psychological issues that come with what we continue to feed ourselves. You know, diet is not just food. So what you consume on a regular basis. I don't give a shit if you have 3 PhDs. I feel like if you watch if I got 3, 4 PhDs and my entire thing that I watch on TV is like, I don't know, man, Zeus Network. Um it's going
You know what? I initially reacted to that physically. And in my mind, I caught myself because I know women with PhDs that love shows like the Kardashians. And outside of the books, it's like you're really good and smart in this area. But when it comes to other areas, because you consume these types of things on a regular basis, this shows up in your personality more so than your ability.
and I
So I had to recorrect myself because it's like, that's stupid. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, I know people that fit into that. Yes, we consume so much of the wrong things on a regular basis that unhealthiness is going to creep in. So,
but that leads into my point. Like this might be maybe like a uneducated critique because I don't really watch these shows, but I've seen them, and to me, they present like Bad Girls Clubs, the I don't know, man, whatever the ones we always beat each other up every other episode, and bitch, ho, bitch, ho,
anything
and
on VH1.
yeah, but
that
it's
has
like
black
that. But
people
they'd
in
be
it.
like doctors, so I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, are these good representations? Because I don't want to think that I'm walking into my doctor's office and she has the same mindset of Blueface girlfriend. Like I'm gonna be very fucking scared if I'm going in here and I got a goddamn heart murmur and I'm like, all right, doc, and she's like, we gonna fucking kill it. Whoa, nigga, like be cool, be like, you know, talk to me like we us, but not like that because I don't. What do you mean by that?
So that brings up an interesting question that comes to mind, right? In the movie, her and Killmonger had their back and forth because she's like,
Mhm.
you know, you destroyed all of this for your own selfish gain, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And he clarifies his point. You know, I love y'all, but y'all can be a little weak sometimes. So, you know, sometimes I gotta do the shit that I need to do.
What wasn't lying?
wasn't lying. But understanding that there's something that plagues us, and I may have to go to a certain extreme in order to avoid that.
Mhm.
For our community in reality, in real time, do you think it's the media that we consume or the images or the representation that we have? Like, what is it that you think is to our detriment more than anything? What is it that you think we need to destroy to keep us from doing more harm to ourselves?
Shit, I think it was all of it. I think everything you said, we got a bullshit gumbo when it comes to what
Don't use gumbo.
yeah, what does us
All
a
things. Why
disservice.
gumbo? I love
Because
gumbo.
exactly. But also, even our diets, like all of that shit plays in. Like I'm telling you, man, the worst thing I could have ever let me do was watch shit like Huberman Lab and understand how much like little things like sleep and diet affect us. So if you oh
You why you
oh barrel roll.
doom 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 doom
I wish they could have seen this.
doom.
Keith came in here
That
and
was
like he's fixing the camera now,
right.
but he came in here and like he barrel rolled and then he like crawled across and it slid.
It was real sneaky, but at the same time, as a former personal trainer, that was the slowest bear crawl I've seen in my life, and I don't know whether I
He
should.
belly rolled.
Yeah, I don't know if you have good core strength because you can go that slow. Yeah, this good. There it is.
That's what you
There
do.
to be yourself.
Yeah, well, hold on,
This is my shit. I walk across all
Yeah.
these goddamn cameras.
Yeah.
Like, do your thing, bro.
But
Proceed.
so I do think that it's things that we view because I feel like sometimes people don't pay attention to like what we talk about. It might not even be shit that you've experienced, but you've seen it on TV like so much, and you parallel that type of shit to what you go through. And I think a lot of our media too is like from music, we are content on like telling, oh, I saw Jerome punch Keisha in the mouth, and you make a song about it, then you make a movie about it. White people do shit where it's like, or even other cultures, they'll do shit where that trauma might have sparked a story, and like there's a theme to the story, and like using that trauma maybe to do. We are the only one where it's like copy and paste the bullshit. It's like, is there a lesson in this motherfucker? Like, is there anything that we're supposed to gain from here, or we just this is what happened? And I don't think we give ourselves enough grace to like not leave it behind, but like use our issues and traumas as something to build upon to learn how to heal. We like make a lot of stuff. It's like, and everybody's excuses out there. You keeping it real, but that's what really happened. That's what really we do go through that, and it's like, okay, but then where do we go from that? Because this movie here, he was a young farmer boy. They killed his mom. He beat them up. He turned into a king. He saved the Western Chinese province. Meanwhile, I don't know what the fuck this movie did for me. Like, I just watched it, and I don't know, man. Medea sang a couple songs, and I watched them, walk Cicely Tyson down this old dirt road where every fucking terrible trauma is in one fucking family. So at this point, nigga, this is y'all raising these kids wrong. It's a dice game. They twerking on each other. They cousins, nigga. Why the fuck was they twerking? That's the weirdest movie to me. I'm not gonna lie. Walking Cicely Tyson down this dirt road that's 3 miles. It's a family of 9,000 people. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Then for her to get up top and give a fucking Lion King speech, whatever, man. Like, you know what I'm saying.
I would say that it's weird, but have you been to the Dominican Republic?
No, and make that movie. Make that movie. And like you said, make the Brazil movie. Cause y'all like we not down there when we like 90% of them or 80 something, whatever it is. Like
we are them.
Yeah, was it like 70% or whatever? And they had words at Hidden Colors, like they had revolts, and their revolts was fire. Like, because what was it like? Somehow their slave, like the way they did slavery wasn't as in depth as ours. Like, you might be like, where if you got sold in Louisiana, you might never see a family because they ship you off to fucking like Memphis or Texas somewhere. Whereas I guess like I want to say, and I might be off with this a little bit, but like if you were fucking like a slave in one town in Brazil, they might take your mom 2 towns over, and they give you freedom to kind of like walk, but be here by this time. So while they was doing that, they was all sending messages, and they were very one band, one sound. When we revolt, Everybody lop off ahead at 12:30, and they did that shit. No cell phones or nothing. They just 12:30, lop, 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 lop. And now they down there living life.
Right.
We have to create art that doesn't adhere to the patriarchy and depression. Show what bliss and liberation could look like. Yes, I think you can start from like maybe, if that's the story, you can start from an oppressive place. But our stories are very bleak and they don't have a lot of like happiness except for like,
I
she went to law school and passed the bar and now like, be having a lot of sex,
I
basketball
think that's
players, whatever.
because kind of like what Lourdes is saying, like you have to get away from patriarchy and oppression, right?
Mhm.
In order to get away from oppression, you can't involve people that are directly connected to the oppressors. Now, this isn't for me to just say completely get rid of all white people. I know we say that facetiously on the show all the time, but sometimes we have to be the ones to completely do this in house. Like even with the Till movie, it's two white women that helped make the movie. Like a lot of our movies that show these different aspects of our stories, you still have them in control of our movie in some aspects. So you're not going to get certain things. I think that's why we're only able, from a liberation standpoint, able to get the Nat Turner movie. Why? Because he got caught and killed in the end.
And I think one thing also that's on us as well. Like I think you want the Nat Turner movie, you want the big, $1 billion budget and all that. But I think you also have to be on our end, where as a community, you can, I'm not saying Scorsese is not. I love Scorsese movies, but you know why Scorsese movies go, and I think he's one of the only filmmakers that uses like film, and they're big budgets, but he's following these dudes around. They're driving old school cars because they go out and watch those fucking movies. When we make a film and somebody's trying to step out on faith, and it's a little independent film, that shit should make $1 billion because at that point we're not trying to we have to play the game better because I feel like for those like white women that like were part of that film, stop leveraging them as like, oh my God, this is a great film to be a part of. Like, I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. I'm a great filmmaker. My last movie that I did independently brought this much in. We're gonna make you guys this much money. And at that point, that's how you play it until some of y'all start owning some studios. So unless everybody's gonna still make every movie they got outside of fucking out there with fucking Tyler Perry, you make good films, we support those good films, and then you go from there.
I can understand that approach. But part of me also wants to say, for black folks, we got 1,000,000,001 C-list movies out there that was filmed somewhere in Atlanta on somebody's iPhone.
Like Boosie movie.
Well, the Boosie got a little bit of money, so he can afford to do it. But we got a bunch of playing the game part 46. Like we got a bunch of those floating around on Amazon Prime that somebody then put out that has the equivalent of a Instagram feed type movie situation. We have a bunch of those, but they're all the same trauma porn stories. Some that has to do with an unhealthy, toxic relationship, or something that has to do with some girl falling in love with a hood nigga. We when we have the opportunities to create, we default, even with or without the budget, doesn't matter. We default to creating the same stories. So yes, we can do that and play the game until we get the opportunity to have the higher resources to be able to make a masterful project. That's great. But if your mindset ain't changed, you're gonna continue to default to making the same stuff. I would support a C-minus movie about some of the revolts. I don't care if all the slaves is wearing the same T-shirt, and every nigga is just switching and putting on the same shirt. When you cut to them I don't care. But the fact that you're trying to do that, I will support. And I say that because, what was it, 2, 3 years ago when we had Eddie Murphy doing the Dolomite story?
Mhm.
That's how Dolomite got big. That's how black exploitation movies got large in the 60s and 70s. Why? Because you had people that took little to nothing. Black people came together and made a low budget film. Yes, some of the shit was shaky, but we still understood in the midst of it, this represents something special for us and we're going to support it anyway. That's how the Van Peebles family got their start. being able to start on all these low budget movies that was funding us, and we decided to support them anyway, regardless of the budget, regardless of this, regardless of that. Is we're supporting what the significance of this means, and we're supporting ourselves, which gave them the ability later on to create something bigger. So I don't think we got to play the game with them at all to be able to put ourselves in position, especially not now because we have Kugler. We have people that are already in position, but they're not utilizing the position properly. Not Kugler, because he's working for Marvel, so of course you got to stick to the comic shit. But he's still trying to be as authentically, culturally representative as possible.
But I think that's what I mean by, I guess, playing the game to a certain degree, like playing the game of making music and making music and making film is like, I'm going to make shit that's dope because I'm super confident that my community is going to support me.
Right.
The rest of these motherfuckers see green. So I feel like we do too much of trying to make them see the film of how it touches us. It's like, look, man, I know this film going to make $1 million because I know that I bring in $1 billion.
Right.
So be confident that your community is going to support you off top. And then if you want it to be this worldwide success, then because that's how all these other little filmmakers go. They just have the added, benefit of not being us in that space.
The benefit of not being us is that you get to make money off of us. And that's everybody's blueprint.
And that's our fault because I don't know, man. I don't want nobody not to eat, but also I don't know, man. I feel like there's spaces where like we could be cool with being like, this is a nice spot. Like you don't have to do that right now because I just don't know that that's going to do for you what you think it's going to do. Like I'm going to do this role and it's going to be a life changing, and it's like, was it though? Like, did it really?
Did you have to be crackhead number 9 in order to get your foot in the door?
Yeah, and I just feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like we keep trying to recreate the wheel. Like back in the day, like when we were like, and I feel like even they made better films, like the Spike Lee joints and the John Singleton movies. Like they were like, I don't know, I guess the NWA of the time. We're telling the stories that are going on right now. Because nobody's telling these stories. We're making contemporary films.
Right.
Y'all don't have to tell these same stories. Well, you're not telling them it's good. But 2, like these people like trying to get into like the characters of it. It's not really like about just negative tropes in our fucking community. It's like, oh, we're gonna tell this story about, Doughboy and them or whatever. But now I like a Kid Cudi or somebody like tell a contemporary story, man. You're a millennial, you're a Gen Z or whatever. Tell a different story, man. Tell your story.
I mean, but there's people that are willing to do that that aren't us that make money off it. Because you mentioned Kid Cudi, he just had his animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
But was that all us? He made it to Netflix. It had a sprinkle of us. It had our flavor on it. It had our style to it. And it wasn't our stereotypical style. It was something completely different than the norm.
Mm-hmm.
But was that us creating it? Did we really support that the way that we should have?
Well, that's my issue is like we should support those more. And I feel like I want to give Cudi like the benefit of the doubt that he was in the driver's seat for his project. So you're in the driver's seat for your project, then cool. Like, yeah, I'll support that because at the end of the day, I don't know how a lot of this business works. Like, I don't know who's in the production seat to put it on Hulu or Netflix or whatever. Like
I don't either, and I don't want to completely discredit that. But just because he's in the driver's seat doesn't mean that he's not following somebody else's GPS.
True.
I want us to be our own navigation system. Why is Siri telling you which directions to make? That white woman can't keep telling you how you're supposed to navigate on the route that you're supposed to navigate. Where's the Jerome navigating system? Or whatever cultural name you want to throw in there. We have to have opportunities, kind of like what Lourdes is sharing right now. We have to rewire our mindsets to be able to stop choosing to make decisions that go against us, which I think in how I interpreted the movie as far as Black Panther, to bring it back to that, I think that's part of the conflict. That essentially, yes, one's Talokan, which is supposed to be Aztec derived, and one is supposed to be African derived, but we still us.
Yeah.
How do we battle within ourselves in a more peaceful way to stop making decisions that continue to hurt us and only us? We out here in the middle of the ocean killing each other, and we are family. We are the only ones that are connected to vibranium. In the movie, this metal connects us. This special thing that we ate that gives us power for the Black Panther and for us connects us. We are the same. We just come from two different areas, but we're battling each other, and the rest of these white people don't even know it's happening. They're benefiting from it. They're plotting on how to take our resources from us. We are infighting at all times because we're finding ways to continue to battle against ourselves, to oppress ourselves for the benefit of other people who aren't even paying attention. At what point do we stop?
I guess you lean on what the theme of at the end of the movie is for something bigger than you. Because the idea of them not fighting was because our nations will go to war and we'll all die. So I would say to parallel that to real life, we do a lot of things. And like I said, I don't want nobody out here broke, but niggas make a lot of choices off of in a variety of spaces and careers about money. And you got triple double millionaires talking about I got to feed my family. I'm like, they kind of fed. Like you didn't have to do that project. That had nothing to do with feeding your family. That had to do with you
feeding your ego.
Yeah, you finding value in this, that, and the third space that doesn't do us any good.
Well, yeah, you do have to continue to feed your family because you keep over consuming and overspending. You're focused more on living lavishly as opposed to living efficiently. Not that I'm going to tell people how to spend their money, but we all know when it comes to the construct of money, if you spend it a certain way, it's going to go away faster or it's going to go away slower. It's going to appreciate or it's going to depreciate. So yeah, if you thinking that you still got to feed your family, it's probably because you feeding your family the wrong shit.
I got to feed my family. It's like, I got you, man. But y'all took like 3 yacht trips and like, 2 limo drivers to get across the street. You could have just walked. Like that was unnecessary.
You was wiping your ass with lobster toilet paper. Like it's not even necessary to.
So that I think is a big part of our issue is like, I'm not opposed to working with whoever you're working with if you're in a certain field or whatever. Grow, put yourself on. But like when it comes to, I don't know, like compromising yourself and shit like that, I think that's where we have to kind of make better choices. Like this is my opportunity to do what? Right. What exactly? Like I don't know. Like what does this opportunity really do for y'all or do for us or do for your career? Because you're already like, a good filmmaker, a good song maker, good this, that, and the third. What exactly are you looking for?
It's easy to compromise yourself when you don't know who you are. Like we all need a Rafiki moment. We all need the ability to actually know who we are. And because we all turn to content to learn or discover or identify who we are as opposed to turning inwardly, the cycle continues to a degree because the content is the thing that's misguiding us, misleading us. But that's also the resource that we utilize. That goes back to my point of why a movie like this can be beneficial because it shakes the table a little bit. No, it's not historical context. It's not actual fact. It has some sprinkled in there, but it's not 100% fact. So it's not going to make us the way that it should, but it gives us the opportunity to at least avert our attention in different ways. But I think we need to.
Those quotes and those statements are said, and I dig them. But like, how do you get one to look inward? Like, how do you adjust one's GPS for that?
Question.
Like, everybody is looking at content and everybody is looking at music.
I'll say understanding resources. Everybody, if you got an iPhone, you're gonna use what the fuck do y'all use for y'all GPS on y'all shit?
What's it? Siri Maps.
Siri Maps, whatever. Fuck. If you got an Android, you're gonna use Google Maps because that's what comes programmed on your phone, right? But most of us do also understand you have other resources like Waze. So I say that to say understanding that you have multiple resources and you have other ways of achieving the same goal is definitely helpful to get people to look deeper within themselves. They realize I don't have to do it in this one way that everybody tells me I have to do it. I can do it in an array of different ways, and I can try this and see if that works for me. And maybe this app doesn't work and I can delete it. And I can try this app. When in reality, these apps are more modalities or resources as far as like This one is therapy. This one is going to the gym and eating better. This one's going to the doctor on a regular basis. This one is getting a blood test to know how I should pay more attention to myself. Like there's so many different avenues and ways that people can learn to identify who they are and pay more attention to themselves. But some people don't know that they have the accessibility of gravitating toward whatever app they need and finding the ones that are comfortable for them. Some just think I have to use Google Maps because I have this device. I am this device, so I have to use what is already programmed here, what's already conditioned in me.
That's good. I think it's conditioning. Sometimes I think it's convenient. Like convenience is not always looked at as a crutch. Like it's looked, I'm like, oh my god, this is so easy, it's so good, this is so convenient, and not paying attention that too much convenience turns into now that's a crutch. Now you don't know how to fucking, you know, walk on your own. It
Yeah.
makes you it turns into a dependency.
Yes.
And
Or apathy.
ooh,
Because you can become dependent and lean on something so much and become so convenient and so easy for you that you just stop trying to push yourself altogether because ease breeds laziness, in my opinion.
yeah, I think that's I think all of that like coincides, and I think that's like I don't know. I feel like it's terrible or whatever when you look at it from just like the metaphor purpose of like you do that with your body or you do that with whatever. But like the dangerous shit is like we have those issues with ourselves as a mindset,
Mhm.
and I don't know. Like I feel like that's a tough fucking thing because I think it's harder to be aware of it. I know I'm getting fat. When these stairs start whooping my ass. Like,
Right.
wow, this is. Oof. I know that I'm uh I might be like out of shape or I might be eating the wrong food because my stomach start acting up. But I think it's harder for people to sometimes catch your mindset going out of whack because that's the thing that like dictates your day to day. So you are like operating on fucked upness and not paying attention to it. Like,
I think some people's mindset could be like other people's bodies. Because yeah, I think you could use the stereotypical analogy like it's good to notice physically when you're slacking or sliding because certain shit don't feel the same or it don't fit the same and things like that. But there are people that have unhealthy lifestyles mentally, physically, and emotionally, and their physical doesn't change.
mhm,
I've never been super athletic. I've never really liked working out. I don't really gain a ton of weight in whatever areas. I look the same and I can eat what I want, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. So because I'm never being challenged or identified with whatever is going on with me, I'm never having this thrown into my face. I can still make bad decisions and I still feel exactly the same. I think that's even more difficult. But there's people out there like that. Like I don't have any indication that anything is changing with me. I've been this way from jump and I don't have to suffer the consequences only because I don't really know that the consequences are what I'm experiencing at the moment.
yeah. And I don't know. I think that's one of the things that like I struggle with when I think about just how that would work to help others.
Mhm.
Because like it's still I don't want to say it's easy, but like in a therapeutic space, people are coming to you, or you might be getting like where I'm at, like you get like assigned people. So there is a knowledge of something is fucked up,
Right.
and now we have at least a general understanding that we're acknowledging and trying to fix the fucked upness. But
Mhm.
somebody maybe just out there living life who might not be introduced to these resources, like doesn't like you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So it's like it's sometimes difficult to see those type of people, especially if you're interacting with them or you love somebody or whatever like that. And it's like you're kind of a full time fuck up, and there's and it's like it's a difficult task to maybe like if you wanted that person to kind of maybe get a hold of themselves. It's like, but you can't. I don't know how to teach awareness
Right.
because like even like for myself, like I've talked about I make it a joke, but like, I've talked about like, little things like, if a baby don't fuck with me or like a dog don't fuck with me, like, okay, like my energy might be
Energy's
off.
off, yeah.
Now we might not be now that's a little bit metaphysical outside of like just the mental space, but it's like if I'm feeling bad in like my body and it's not making much sense, like I've been eating good, I was like, okay, how there's like a diagram that floats around where it like tells you which parts of your body you start to feel emotions at. Like I'm
Yeah.
sad, I'm mad, I'm whatever.
It
So
resonates somatically somewhere.
yeah, so being aware of like one's body, but I was like, I don't even at this point, I have to sometimes think like, where did I learn all this shit? Because I've accumulated this shit over time,
Right.
and it's like, yeah, this probably is a lot to dump on someone, especially if they're not in the space to like go, okay, I know something's fucked up. Teach me how to
But
acknowledge
then
that.
that they would have to know that they can come to the space. Like for us, we have the privilege of one understanding the importance of the space, then deciding to be in the space and work in the space, right?
Mhm.
The average person may not even 100% know that the space is available for them, which can be an issue. So I think you mentioning, shameless plug, going to therapy is beneficial because even like say somatically, you can't even learn how do I teach mindfulness? How do I teach how to recognize what what emotions are resonating within me somatically and which ones are common, like anger typically manifests here, and
Mhm.
sorrow and pain typically manifests here, and shame typically manifests here physically. That's one aspect of it. We're not even talking about, say, like stages of development, which there's like four different ways that you can measure development depending on which person you're looking at. But
Where's Freud?
each of them says, oh, depending on what you're struggling on, I can tell what stage of development you missed out on, or
Mhm.
like which one your trauma occurred. So if you're dealing with this, I can see that you probably had some issues with stages of development in say 7 to 11. What was going on between ages 7 to 11?
Or
And
the
that
but
just helps you pinpoint it. Just like, but they have to come to the space to be
mhm.
able to know that that type of thing is possible.
Because I know that's one of our like biggest issues is the normalization of trauma. Because like you'll hear definitely like as I've been going through my little journey, school wise, somebody will tell you something about like their past or when we was growing up, we used to go to Nene house and whoop doop doop used to happen. And it's like, oh, that happened. You said y'all was like 7 or 8. And what you just said is like in the reverse. It's like that happened. That's a trauma or that's neglect. Or that's where you should have learned this and they shouldn't have really done that. That is something y'all been doing in your family, or whatever, but that's really out. And that's like, oh, that's why you do this. Shit. So I know those moments. How do you deal with those moments where, like, you catch it for them, but it's like, I don't know how to necessarily introduce this to you because now I feel like I'm talking about you because you just told me something. I register that what you just told me means that you during this developmental phase, you probably really missed out on this. I know it's normal. I know you think dad or mom was an amazing person and they did the best they could with the tools they had, but
Mhm.
technically what you just said is a buttload of fucking trauma and bullshit and it is playing into this situation you really told me last week. And that becomes, some people can't deal with your energy. Sometimes you just have to clear the space. Sometimes like that's not what that is, man. You're a dickhead. You're not registering how you're a dickhead. That those conversations be deep. Those sometimes I'll say I feel bad because I'll end up having to sometimes you just sit on it because like I gotta wait until you kind of come into what the fuck is going on with me.
I mean, it depends. 'Cause I assume you're talking about in regular population, not in the space.
No, no, no.
Because
Like,
in the
because
space, we're gonna have to
in the
introduce you
space we're
to
gonna
a
have, but I'm talking
right.
about you're talking
In
to
casual
friends, you're
conversation, or
talking
if you
to a
come across
partner, you're
somebody's
talking to your parents. Shit.
right. Um, it depends on who it is, to be honest with you. For me, depending on how close I am to them and how much affinity I have for them, I might rip the Band-Aid off. That's just me. I might ease into it a little bit more with somebody else. I may ask, you ask certain questions where it's like I'm asking you, but it's not really a question that I don't know the answer to. I'm kind of
I've
like,
done that. Try to get them to
so you
come
think
on, man.
that
walk
you
walk over
think
there.
think
Go.
that yeah, how'd that work out for you? Hey, you ain't never sat and like really paid attention to that? Oh, all right. Hey, I don't know, man. Maybe you should. What you think? I ain't gonna tell you what I think just yet. I'm gonna just
I
kind of let you explore that on your own. But like, I'll ask questions to kind of like,
I think
hey,
in that,
you
especially in
should
like
sit with that
regular
for a little
life,
bit.
I think I got like a 70 something percent success rate. Now, like I'm gonna keep it honest because 70 I feel like is it usually works, but I say 70% because they might catch it,
Mhm.
but I can't say anything higher because I don't think there's a high enough rate. Of, God damn, man, it'd be like somebody will catch it and then I'm like, oh, we flirting with defensiveness right now. I'm like, all right, you got it.
That's why
This ain't
sometimes
it
I
for
rip
you.
the Band-Aid off because if I know you gonna scream in pain regardless, right? So let's just get to it.
See, my worry about ripping the Band-Aid off is that it turns into an aversion. Like I don't want you to run away from it. Like if I rip it off and you
Yes.
go, fuck this, I'm out of here. And I'm like, damn, I did more
That's
damage
why I
than
said
good.
it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Certain people I know, like therapy. I know I have a rapport built with you enough where I can rip the Band-Aid off, and you won't run from the pain, and you won't blame me for like doing the thing that needs to be done, and you won't get upset with me. You'll understand that I'm doing this. I'm ripping this off because I have to help you readdress the wound and go from there. Like you understand that this is part of the process that is benefiting you, and I'm doing this because I care. It's just this is a sucky part of the process. I have rapport with you, you can understand that. If I don't have a rapport with you, and then I got to sit and decipher with you to help you understand that that's what I'm trying to do, and I got to preface and add context and all the other stuff depending on my energy level. I may not have it in me that day to do all that. I mean,
My boy.
I mean, it's just, and I could be in a complete like anti-hero moment where I don't have the rapport built with you and I just rip the Band-Aid off and I just walk off. It's like, hey, oh, that's what you do. You know this means this, right? Okay,
well, God go work it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna work it out. Hey. So I mean, but yeah, sometimes it does depend on the rapport that I have with people. Will depend on my approach. But I think also for me, anti-hero status, I think ripping the Band-Aid off needs to happen a lot more because we've been sitting up here trying to like avoid the pain of certain things for too long. Kind of like what you said as far as content is concerned and all these other things that we tend to lean into that keeps bringing us detriment. At some point, the cycle has to change, the approach has to change. A lot of these things have to change. And sometimes you can't coerce everybody into change. Sometimes you gotta 300 them and kick their ass in the pit because you ain't gonna do shit if I just let you sit here and think about that.
Hey, I be sitting up here talking about me and my Coach Boone, Joe Clarkness. I'm a fan of that because I think it balances itself out if everything's in a perfect world where everything's working on 10. You can rip the Band-Aid off and it not being perceived as me dogging your ass. That'd be my issue with some of this shit. Again, I'm gonna always have, at least right now, always have issues with some of that shit online because there's this air that like I'm keeping it real. It gets blurred with taking the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
You're being a bully and like stabbing at somebody.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody like, I need you to get rid of this because it's not helping you. Those are two distinctly different things.
Yeah. You're being unsafe. I'm not.
Yeah, and I need you to be, if somebody's, and that goes back to that awareness and understanding. If you're aware and have a level of understanding, like this person is telling me something for my own good, this person is telling me something so that I can do what they want me to do.
Yeah,
and that's different. They're trying to coerce, or they're trying to manipulate me, or they're trying to, they have an agenda. This person might genuinely go, I see that as a bad thing happening for you, and you should maybe think about going about it this way. Because at the end of the day, sounds like a dickhead, but like I'm gonna go home. This actually technically has zero effect on my life except for my actual caring for you, as opposed to I don't like that you did that like that, so I want you to do what I want you to do because that benefits me. I need you to move in this manner. And that's not the same. Like like that same shit I just said. Like at getting people out of my life. Somebody would say that about him. Like he took the Band-Aid off. I'm getting negativity out of my life. No, you're not. You were going head first into possibly the worst spiral in your fucking life, and you just got on your boat and said, "Fuck the sail and these stupid ass paddles. All I need is a boat." Die, my boy.
And I'm gonna let you, because that's happened to me plenty of times.
Oh no, I'll be sitting in the water like Poseidon, like I told you.
At some point,
this world is switch around.
The water like Jesus.
And I'm
gonna have my cognac like I started off the show, and I'm gonna just be.
No, you sitting there like Namor. It's like, motherfucker, I told you I knew how. I run this motherfucker. I literally said it's a storm over there.
You talking shit about my little wings. Now look at you.
You need all this shit to get up out of here. And you was like, fuck you, wingfoot ass boy. Like, I was like, all right, well,
I'll come back tomorrow. There's a storm coming by.
I'm not coming back tomorrow. That's a whole tsunami. You're gonna die. Niggas like it's over with. I did the best I could.
I gotta come back either way, because even if you do drown, you technically where you are, you're gonna end up in our Times Square. So I'm gonna have to clean you up off our street anyway.
But it's in a motherfucking whale. It's so fast. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, shit. Like, yeah, choppity chomp.
From King Shark.
Yeah, man, it's snack time.
Hey,
Y'all swinging us around this
Num
water and
nums.
shit. Yeah, num nums. Absolutely.
terrible.
Oh, they two different things. What if they link up?
That
But
would
they
not. It's okay.
I think I want to say
They could do
Mamba-
some cross.
Mamba got a shark, dude. Well, technically, Atuma should have been. He was cool, but Atuma really was supposed to be like him. But whatever. He didn't work for the movie. But
Yeah, they ain't even got into it yet. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and let you start this outro. So I'm gonna let you say something wise and wonderful. And Keith, go ahead and start the outro music. Kind of set the mood for the people. It's wonderful evening. Thank you so much for all the participation in the comments. Thank you for everybody that's been watching so far. I'm not doing the outro, so you take the camera off me. I'm just setting it up.
I was
him.
pretty out though. Like he was out.
Yeah.
Boy, don't I fucking do it? I'll be
I
doing
like
it.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how you
Um,
set that up. That was not the way sound for that. You need dog park. I
That's
appreciate
the
you.
thing. One day I'm gonna come in here with some sounds. It's not today though.
Yeah, it's not that. We gonna figure that out. I'm gonna let you do the outro. I've been holding my pee for like an hour. I'm gonna slide off screen. No. Put it back on him. So don't nobody know that I'm gonna take my potty break. You gonna keep it on me the whole time.
Hit
That's how you
him, hit
feel?
him with the
Okay.
Robert, man. Pee. I'm sorry, that was bad. That was a bad joke. We're here now. Yeah, I don't know, man. He gave you really good outro, man. Thank y'all for watching. Black Panther's cool. Go watch that. I don't know, man. Be aware, do some different stuff, man. We talk a lot of stuff on here. I want y'all to just be better. Be the best. Be the best y'all you could be. Y'all getting on my nerves with you not doing that. Listen to some good music. Because like this is that the are we finna fight? Listen to good music because Funky's podcast out. Thank y'all for listening. Yeah, man, see y'all next Tuesday.